Hello, and welcome back. So today we have this very cozy setup, and it's because I woke up late. And these days the sun is setting at like 2-3 in the afternoon, and I woke up at like 1:30 and was like, shit, okay. Nope, so this is what we got to work with. Usually prefer daylight and to be out in the daylight, have daylight when I'm filming, but can't always have it perfect, so this is what we're working with. But I found it cozy. I find it cozy. And yeah, I'm ready to catch up because it was a bit hectic back in November, because then we did a Christmas show in school and we had to rehearse and practice super many songs. But in the end, I got a cold, so I couldn't even participate, so it was a bit of a failure, but what to do? And then I was also in this dance show, and I've done some dance classes like 10 years ago, so yeah, I don't really have that much experience, but it was a lot of fun because I did it together with some people from my class, and they were like already had quite a lot of experience, so I felt a bit lost, but I really tried, and I also practiced freaking every day because we had like 3 weeks to learn the choreography, and I actually learned it. It didn't look as smooth and nice as when the other dancers did it, but I'm still happy. I'm still proud of myself. It felt like a really big achievement to actually be able to learn a dance choreography and show it at a dance show. So yes, I did that, and yeah, it was some things. I even like called it grindset November because I really locked in and I was really focused on being productive and like getting all these things done. So it was a good time because this grindset November thing, it was not the thing that I was just gonna like hustle and get completely burnt out. Part of the challenge was also to be productive without getting like super overwhelmed and burnt out. So I also had to set some clear limits with myself. For example, to not start or do anything productive after like 8 in the evening, because then I really needed to wind down and just feel peace. And also to have a really clear like schedule and plan, so that I wasn't just like pulling different threads in desperation to get things done and just like getting nowhere. Because that's something I've really done a lot in the past when I tried to be productive, because then I didn't have a clear game plan and I just knew I had to do a lot of different things, try to work on them all simultaneously, and just like did a little bit here, a little bit there, and then just couldn't really see how I was gonna go from like point A to point B. So this time I really tried to break it down, and it was a little bit more clear this time, especially since we rehearsed all the Christmas songs, because then it was, okay, these are the songs we're gonna rehearse to this date, and it was the dance choreography, and yeah, so it actually worked quite well, and I was also really like happily surprised how well I was doing, and that it also felt fun, and that I actually enjoyed the process, and that it wasn't just this like big stress thing to just do this thing, all this crazy, So no, that's what I've been up to. And yeah, now we're approaching the end of the year, Christmas, New Year's, and then a brand new year. And this time of the year I'm often setting like a lot of goals for the upcoming year, but also reflecting on the year that has been, because I think it's really hard to set new goals and like try to find some kind of path forward if we haven't reflected on the year that has been, and the challenges that we faced, and the growth and the achievements. And I think oftentimes the achievements and the challenges are often intertwined, can even be the same thing, because it's mostly the things that challenged us the most that meant the most, and that we're actually the proudest of. So I thought I was gonna share some of my biggest achievements / challenges from the past year, and maybe it can inspire you to also do some reflections, write some things down, save it for the future, and also to be really clear going into the new year. Okay, I just had to switch the angle because my feet were falling asleep when I was sitting on the floor, so we're sitting up instead. And continuing to the number 1 challenge / achievement from this year. So the absolute biggest achievement / challenge that I did this year is definitely moving, because it's also the thing that I'm the most proud of doing. because I moved up here to the north of Sweden to start studying at a music school. And this music school is located super close to where I grew up, so I already knew about it and everything. And it's a folkhögskola, so it's not university, it's like a Swedish thing where you study something creative mostly, something like music or art or dance or writing, and it's for some people a way to prepare to apply for university, but for other people like me, it's just a way to have a lot of time to do the thing you're passionate about, learning new things and just being in a creative environment. And I've been thinking for a long time that this is something that I wanted to do, but I wasn't really sure about how or when or if. But around this time last year, actually, I really started to think about it, because I felt a bit stuck in Båstad, because, I lived in Båstad for almost 2 years, and it's the place where my boyfriend grew up. So it felt really familiar for him, and I also really liked it there, because it was a lot of nature, it was really cozy, and it wasn't too small, but maybe it was too small in the way that they didn't have a music scene, and I was always a bit too comfortable and didn't really make the step to go to Malmö or some other nearby city to do anything. So I just felt super stuck with music, and it just felt like I was working my part-time jobs and just trying to do something creative, but I never really got into a flow or didn't have any context for it. So I knew I needed something new, and that's how I really got this idea about maybe we should move to the north of Sweden, maybe we should do this. And also they had another program that you actually get a degree from, that was stage technician, that I thought would be good for Kaspar. And he was a bit skeptical first, but then he was like, okay, well, let's try. So we did. And I'm actually so happy about it, because it felt like it was the absolute right decision to do. Because in the beginning, I also liked it, but it took a little bit of time to get to know the people in the school and to get into the new routines. Because now I have way more time to do music things, because I don't have a part-time job anymore, I just do school. But I don't know, it took a little bit of time to settling into, and I think it's also part of that is definitely self-sabotage, because I knew I was in a really good place, I had all the opportunities, and I just started to think about the future, about what I was gonna do after I finished this year. I can even do 2 years if I want to. And I was like, well, what am I gonna do then? Am I just gonna go back to do another part-time job that I probably won't like? What about money? Am I wasting money because I'm taking more student loans? Oh, blah, 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 Where am I gonna go next? And so on and so forth. And I'm like, why am I even worrying about that when it's not relevant at this point? And it also feels like I'm wasting this opportunity and this experience by worrying so much about the future. So it really felt like I was a bit stuck in that in the beginning. And I still get into that weird mode sometimes. I definitely think it's just scarcity. But yeah. So it took some time getting into, but now I feel like I'm really thriving, and it's good times. I'm really excited for next year, because I'm still in the school for the next semester, and maybe even doing a second year, I don't know. But that's the number one thing. And the second thing that I want to mention, that was definitely a challenge, was taking my driver's license. Because I started the process already last year, and then it continued on to this year. Because it was way harder than I thought it would be. Because I was like, well, yeah, people who are in high school do this, how hard can it be? You just practice a little bit, study a little bit, and then it's done. But it was a bit quite hard, actually. And I think it was, for me, mostly because it was so practical, because I've learned things theoretically in the past years and studied for things, but I wasn't in this sort of practical high-risk situations, like when you're driving a car and you're driving on the highway in 100 kilometers an hour, and you're just like, okay, if I mess up now, we're gonna die. And that's a bit stressful, and I know don't let fear overtake you, because then you're gonna probably mess up harder. But anyways, I think it was so many aspects about this, and I don't even know if it sounds that interesting. Taking my driver's license was this whole mental process, but it definitely was. And like one of the big things was definitely believing in myself while doing these practical things like driving, and also having like the driving teacher next to me, because they wanted to help, but sometimes when someone is supervising me, I'm always feeling a bit like watched and like and also criticized, because even if they just want to give feedback, I'm feeling criticized and I'm feeling self-cautious and I'm just starting to doubt myself. And I know it's all about me and not about them. But then I also had some like driving teachers that was a bit messy. But anyways, so that was definitely a big thing, to actually being able to trust myself and to just like keep on believing in myself while I was driving, so that I could actually be in control and actually like knowing that I was the one in control. And I think this is definitely something that you can apply to so many other areas in life. And it was almost like doing these internal affirmations while I was driving, and like saying things to myself like, okay, I'm capable, I'm in control, I got this, you know. And it really helped. I really felt such a difference from the times where I was just like super like in my head and super like flown away by emotions. And so that was something, and I'm really happy that I made it, because I failed my first like driving test. But I know it was definitely because I got way too stressed, and then I did it again a month later when I really had like collected myself, and then I did it. So now I got my driver's license, now I can drive. Crazy achievement. Yeah. Okay, so crazily enough, my camera is overheating, so maybe I'm gonna keep it short for this time. But I think like the most concrete things I could say about this year is definitely the move and the driver's license. And on paper, that doesn't sound like a crazy year with a crazy lot of achievements and growth, but I think it was definitely internally, because it felt like this year was a continuation of last year. Because in 2024, I definitely had a lot of new revelations. I really found my spark again with songwriting, and found a lot of new clarity about what I want to do, where I want to go, and how I define success. And it felt like all these themes just continued in this year, and I continued to work on these things on myself, and it was a really good year. Even if nothing crazy happened, I'm still really happy about it, and it felt like it was a good time. And I'm also feeling really ready for next year to begin. So yeah. I'm also gonna do some baking. I'm gonna do lussebullar. It's with saffron buns. Don't know what it's called. So I'm also gonna do that tonight, because I know I need to do some things, because I woke up so late. I also know I won't be able to go to bed that early. So I'm gonna bake, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm just gonna like accept the fate of me getting up late and also having to go to bed late. But I hope that I will reset it tomorrow, because tomorrow I have school again, and then I need to go up at 8 or something, so tomorrow it's back to normal. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna stop filming. I think I'm torturing my camera, but it was nice to chat for a little bit.